Did the world just witness the rise of a new fashion godfather? Why are millions of fans calling Taehyung the Mafia of Paris? What happened at Celine's Paris Fashion Week that made even top designers lose their breath? Watch closely because this moment didn't just rewrite style. It reshaped the very definition of power, elegance, and charisma. Don't scroll away. Comment, like, and subscribe because what you're about to read will make you see Taehyung in a way you've never imagined before. Did it really happen? Or did the entire fashion world just dream it? The night Taehyung stepped into Paris Fashion Week, everything changed. The cameras froze, the whispers spread like wildfire, and the once noisy crowd fell into stunned silence. Standing under the golden lights of Celine's grand stage, Kim Taehyung didn't just walk, he arrived. Every step carried the weight of a legend. Every glance felt like a cinematic moment ripped straight out of a mafia film, and every breath he took commanded attention. Fans didn't see a pop idol that night, they saw a godfather. The mafia dawn of fashion, elegant yet dangerous, mysterious yet magnetic. How could one man in a single tailored Celine suit cause such a tremor across the global fashion scene? Perhaps it wasn't just the clothes, it was the aura, the story, the unspoken power that lingered in the air. Taehyung's sharp jawline cut through the lights like a blade. His slicked back hair gleamed with confidence, and the perfectly fitted black Celine suit clung to his silhouette like it was sculpted for a king. But beneath that calm gaze was something more. A challenge, a whisper to the world. This is what real style looks like. The audience didn't just watch. They felt. There was electricity, a tension that could almost be touched. The moment Taehyung turned his head, it felt as though time stopped. Fashion insiders, photographers, and even celebrities in the front row couldn't help but stare. Phones lifted like waves, shutters clicked endlessly, and in that instant social media exploded. Within minutes, hashtags like #TaehyungCeline, #GodfatherLook, and #ParisMafiaTrend dominated global trends. Armies didn't just admire his outfit, they bowed to it. He looks like the boss of all bosses, one fan wrote while another posted. If elegance had a face, it would be Kim Taehyung and Celine. But what truly made that night unforgettable wasn't just the look. It was the transformation. Taehyung didn't need to say a word. His silence spoke louder than any speech. His walk was poetry in motion. When he entered, Paris gasped. When he turned, the world trembled. And when he smiled, just slightly like a secret only he knew, the crowd erupted. It was a cinematic moment, the kind that doesn't just happen, the kind that defines an era. What was it about that Celine suit that turned heads, broke records, and set new trends overnight? Some said it was the cut, the bold shoulders, the satin lapels, the perfect blend of Parisian minimalism and masculine dominance. Others argued it was Taehyung himself, that his presence transformed the fabric into something more than fashion, a symbol of authority, artistry, and rebellion. Whatever it was, it didn't take long before global media began dubbing him the new face of modern luxury. As dawn broke over Paris the next day, the internet had already crowned him the mafia godfather of fashion. The phrase spread like wildfire, not as mockery but as admiration. Fans drew comparisons to classic cinema icons, Marlon Brando, Al Pacino, but agreed that Taehyung brought something uniquely modern, something that merged rebellion with refinement. He didn't just wear Celine, he embodied it. His every movement whispered exclusivity, his aura felt untouchable, and his stare carried that quiet dominance that only the true elite possess. Could it be that Taehyung was never meant to follow trends, but to create them? After all, this isn't the first time he's turned the fashion world upside down. From his experimental streetwear to his effortlessly chic airport looks, Taehyung has always blurred the lines between art and apparel. But Paris Fashion Week 2025 was different. It wasn't about fashion anymore. It was about power. It was about owning the room, the moment, and the narrative. Some say that when he stepped onto that red carpet, it wasn't just Taehyung who arrived, it was a movement. A new wave of fashion rooted not in extravagance, but in emotion, mystery, and story. Designers whispered that night that Taehyung had set a new benchmark. He's not a model, one stylist confessed. He's a revolution wearing a suit. And indeed, in the days that followed, designers began to replicate the mafia minimalist aesthetic, sharp lines, muted tones, confident silhouettes. It was no longer about dressing loudly, it was about dressing with presence. Behind the scenes, insiders claimed that Celine's creative team couldn't stop talking about him. He wasn't just a guest, he was the main event. Every photo of Taehyung that night looked like a still from a movie that everyone suddenly wanted to watch. The way he adjusted his cufflinks, the slow turn of his head, even the quiet pause before he entered the venue, all of it felt intentional, crafted, masterful. Fans who attended described the energy as unreal. "You could feel it in your chest," one army wrote online. When he appeared, everyone forgot to breathe. And isn't that what true icons do? They don't need to shout to be heard. They don't need to sparkle to shine. They simply exist and the world bends around them. Taehyung's appearance in that tailored Celine masterpiece didn't just raise the bar. It shattered it. Fashion editors from Vogue to GQ compared his confidence to that of the greatest icons of all time. Some even speculated that brands might begin designing specifically around his aesthetic. But what makes this moment even more powerful is what it represents. For years, idols have attended fashion events as guests, beautiful, admired, yet distant from the core of the industry. Taehyung, however, stepped into Paris Fashion Week not as a guest, but as a phenomenon. His mere presence rewrote the rules. The audience wasn't waiting for the models, they were waiting for him. And when he finally appeared, the applause didn't sound like a fashion show. It sounded like history being made. The crowd didn't just see Taehyung, they felt his evolution. Gone was the boyish charm of the past. This was a man in full command of his identity. The refined masculinity, the cold yet intoxicating gaze, the effortless dominance. It was the kind of transformation that only few achieve, when confidence becomes couture. He didn't need a crown to prove he was royalty. The world already knew that armies online couldn't contain their emotions. Thousands of edits flooded social media within hours, pairing his look with mafia soundtracks, cinematic filters, and quotes like "The Dawn of Paris." Memes, fan art, and even short films recreated his Godfather moment. But what surprised everyone was how fashion critics, who are notoriously hard to impress, joined in. They called it the Taehyung effect, a phenomenon where elegance meets intimidation, and beauty meets danger. So what happens now? If Taehyung can turn one suit into a global fashion movement, what will he do next? Will he redefine men's fashion entirely? Will Celine launch a line inspired solely by him? The possibilities are endless, and the world is watching with bated breath. Because after that night, one thing became clear. When Kim Taehyung steps into a room, fashion history follows. The echoes of that night still linger. From Seoul to New York, from Paris to Milan, designers and stylists continue to reference that look. The cold black suit, the subtle silver accessories, the unshakable aura of command. And maybe that's the real magic. It wasn't about the brand, the fabric, or the lighting. It was about presence. The kind that can't be taught, copied, or manufactured. The kind that only Taehyung has. So ask yourself, did Taehyung just attend a fashion show, or did he own it? Did he simply wear a suit, or did he create an empire of influence with one look? The answer lies somewhere between the flash of the cameras and the silence that followed his arrival. Because in that silence, the world knew fashion would never be the same again. And now, as the dust settles and the lights fade, one question remains for everyone who witnessed it. How far can Taehyung go? How many more hearts can he stop? How many more trends can he redefine? How many more times can he make the world fall silent? The answer, as always, is simple. As long as there are eyes to see, hearts to feel, and cameras to capture, Kim Taehyung will continue to reign, not as a celebrity, but as the godfather of modern style, because in Paris, under those lights, a legend was born. And his name was Taehyung. They said legends are born once in a generation, but Paris that night proved them wrong. Because the legend of Kim Taehyung isn't just born, it's reborn, over and over again. Every time he walks into the light. The streets outside the Celine venue were chaos. Fans pressed behind barriers, journalists shouting his name, camera flashes slicing through the cold night air like lightning. But amidst all the noise, Taehyung walked calmly, hands in his pockets, his expression unreadable. That calmness, that controlled fire, was what drew everyone in. He wasn't trying to be seen. The world simply couldn't look away.